In this video, I'm going to talk about the Viet Cong war tactics. The war tactics used by the Viet Cong in Vietnam would have been successful against a more powerful and well-equipped army than the US's. First, we need to know about the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War was a war that the United States entered in order to try and prevent the spread of communism. The war was against the United States troops allied with the Southern Vietnam troops against the North Vietnam troops, or the Viet Cong. It was started by French colonial rule of Vietnam. The Vietnamese wanted their own nation, and Communist Ho Chi Minh was selected to represent Vietnam in a war against France. The United States joined the war in 1965 in an attempt to stop the spread of communism. The Viet Cong were heavily outnumbered and outgunned, but were still able to resist the United States in direct conflict. So what made the Viet Cong's tactics so effective in the war against the United States in South Vietnam? First, we need to know about the Viet Cong. The Viet Cong was a group of guerrilla fighters who were volunteers or recruited to fight for the Northern Vietnamese Communist Party. The Viet Cong got their weapons from the Soviet Union and China, who were both suppliers to the Viet Cong. The Viet Cong was mostly made up of farmers and villagers who volunteered to join the army. And according to PBS, they were a military branch of the National Liberation Front. The Viet Cong's tactics were so effective because of the implication of guerrilla warfare. The Viet Cong used guerrilla war tactics, which were unlike anything the U.S. has seen. They were masters of surprise. The Viet Cong used hit-and-run tactics to disorient their enemy, who was not ready for the attack. And they used booby traps to trap enemies and pick them off one by one. And underground tunnels there's a quote here. They provided the Viet Cong with manufacturing, resupplying, and planning space within easy striking distance of their targets, the National Museum of United States Army on underground tunnels. Knowledge of the terrain and population played another key factor into why the Viet Cong's tactics were so effective. The jungle really helps the Viet Cong stay hidden and helps with their surprise attacks. And the Viet Cong, as you can imagine, knew their home really well and knew how to traverse it. The enemy wasn't familiar with all these dense trees and tons of water. The Viet Cong also had relations with the local people as they were from there. In this quote, it shows that the Viet Cong won the hearts and minds of the South Vietnamese peasants. They would offer to help them in their daily work and also promise them land, more wealth, and freedom under Ho Chi Minh and the communists. And that's a quote from BBC. The Viet Cong were really good at getting into the enemy's head, making them fear and wanting to quit fighting. Just the Viet Cong's ability to deliver persistent, small hit-and-run attacks took a toll on the United States troops. These tactics made our soldiers constantly on edge about when the next attack would be coming. The tactics so far have often been hit and run. Such tactics have important delaying and harassing effects. And that quote is from the Army University Press. The Viet Cong also had one more major advantage against the United States, and that was the ability to endure and not back down. The Viet Cong's ability to never back down all comes down to the culture of the Vietnamese people. They were very determined to win the war, even though they were up against one of the most powerful armies in the world. And there's a quote here, and it says, "At the heart of the conflict was the desire of North Vietnam." And that was a quote from Britannica. So in conclusion, the Viet Cong were able to outlast a very great superpower with their thrown together army. All of this comes down to how they fight. The Viet Cong's guerrilla hit-and-run tactics were very effective on the United States physically and psychologically. Their knowledge of their terrain gave them gave them a speed and camouflage advantage. And finally, their ability to endure and press on, which is ingrained in their culture, is how they were to beat the United States in a one-on-one conflict. That's my video. Thank you.